You're listening to a 4x4 Radio Network podcast.
I don't think the way I used to. Oh, life don't feel so great. Oh, I look forward to the sunrise, southern nights, fireflies, lazy summer days. Like smelling mama's biscuits baking in the oven. Daddy gets a little bit of loving, singing hey good looking off key. When my baby snuggles up to me in the moonlight on the front porch swing, man, that's living to me. Trading my suit and tie for my old blue jeans. Yeah, 5 o'clock I'm ready for the simple things, like smelling mama's biscuits baking in the oven. Daddy gets a little bit of loving, singing hey good looking off key. When my baby snuggles up to me in the moonlight on the front porch swing, man, that's living to me. When my baby snuggles up to me in the moonlight on the front porch swing, man, that's living to me. Man, that's living to me.
Wow. Yes. Patreons, you just got a very special intro. I'm sure when the video came on, you all were going, wait a minute, what's
There's a lot going on.
Wrong show.
It's not the wrong show. Welcome to On the Trail with Kevin and Scott. I'm Kevin, the engineer, the tech guy, the one who typically reads instructions, uses the right tools, and follows those instructions. And you are?
I'm Scott. I'm the slapstick parts guy trying to follow Kevin while he reads the instructions, and they sit there and you put about 8 or 6, 7 little doodads together to make sure a light comes on while we're testing stuff on that. But other than that, while we will share with you what worked,
as well as what didn't, it's always up to you guys to please read the instructions,
do your research,
and follow those instructions.
Yes.
I almost had a different order there, just ring. And of course, we have a very, very special guest here today, and not in the studio, but in his garage. Welcome to John Karl.
Hi, everybody. I'm the guy that sits here and talks to the people that look at the things, that do the doodads with a guy that knows what he's doing, and the other guy that's figuring out exactly what's going on when that diode changes that light to make things work.
But then I'm the guy with the jokes. That's true. You two
Not
are doing all
anymore. I am in real trouble on this show, folks. We're here at John's, and John has had me come over a few times. But before that, he even has been on the show before.
Yes.
Now, those of you who are astute listeners and wind back, I believe it's 3 years?
4 years. It was one of our first shows.
4 years ago at Halloween when we did the Zombie Garage. John was the guy running around outside Halloween night collecting zombies and feeding them to the chipper shredder.
They were plentiful.
They were. He was also a little messy on feeding, so occasionally we did get a few facefuls of zombie goop. But we're really here because John, despite his evident country music skills, which I'm very impressed with. If you want to check him out online, he's got a website, Facebook page, YouTube videos.
Hasn't been updated in a while, but johnkarl.net, JOHNKARL.net.
JK. As Jeepers, you really ought to be able to remember those two initials.
Yes.
Now, the people that are watching can see, but not only is what Kevin all just said with big words, but the beautiful backdrop. And I remember the lights this time, guys. We're not doing this with a handheld flashlight. Is you're obviously an avid Jeeper, and especially this right here, this lovable Smojack, I love because that's some old iron, man.
Yeah, that's a beautiful. Technically a CJ painted up like an MB.
Yes.
And we're going to get into depth on that very shortly, but not to be completely overshadowed. On the other side, we've got his JK.
It's the JK. Yeah.
JK. And
it's a 2018. This was literally the last one on the shelf before the JLs.
Yeah. So this begs us to lead off with our first question for you, sir.
Yes.
What got you into Jeeps?
My wife.
Really?
Wow.
You weren't expecting that.
Oh, no.
See, you guys were all thinking that it was, you did something a little more. Actually, it was very simple. We moved to Florida. Mm-hmm. My wife had always had the dream of a Jeep and going out by the water and sitting in her Jeep, which, of course, here in Tampa, it's not a lot of places you can do that like you can in Daytona on the other side.
Correct.
But...
Unless you go back to the Redneck Riviera.
Correct.
Which it really isn't the Gulf.
And Fort DeSoto Beach. Right before you get to the inlets, there's a small little beach you can pull your Jeep up on and look at the Skyway Bridge, and it gets with the lights on. I'm actually going to bring my telescope out there probably when it gets cooler and not so many mosquitoes and sweat.
At nighttime, right?
At nighttime, yes.
Okay.
Let the gators nibble on your toes.
Yeah.
Well, Scott does have interesting hobbies sometimes.
Well, that's okay. We all do. Doesn't make us bad people. Often.
Much.
Yeah.
So, on to more safe topics like Jeeps. So, tell us a little bit about the Willys and the acquisition, or the CJ Willys, or whatever you want to call it.
And is this your first Jeep?
It is my first old Jeep.
Okay.
Our first Jeep was a 2016 JKU. Just like everybody else, we had purchased it, and we were like, what do we do now? And we heard about, of course, Tampa Jeep Crew. Okay. So my wife actually forced me to go to a meetup because that was not my thing. I had no thought of.
Is that the cattle prod charging over there? In the
yes, okay, yes. No, that's next to the fly swatter.
Go outside, have fun.
So we went, and we actually met Eric Pence from Zombie Garage.
Yeah.
And he was nicest guy, introduced us to everybody, and we made lifetime friends that are still friends with us now today, that we'll talk every week and help each other out and stuff like that. I mean, we're there whether it has to do with Jeeps or cars or houses or families or anything. So that changed my life. The Jeeping seriously changed my perspective on Florida, on people.
Yeah.
With everything going on, of course, for the past couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
So this thing is a 1951 CJ3A.
Yep.
They had two models before this when it comes to the civilian versions of this vehicle.
Finger quotations.
Yes. And they also had two different sides. You had the Ford side, and you had the Willys Kaiser side.
Right.
Yes. So this was a farm Jeep. It was red originally, we found out when I scraped paint off of it. It lived on a farm its entire life until it got to Zombie Garage and then to me. The original owner, this gentleman in Georgia, who used it on his farm his whole life, taught his kids how to drive on it. When I received it, it was because a friend of mine, Jeff Lowe, had actually purchased this in Georgia. Him and Dave and Donald, I think, drove up with a trailer to pick it up.
I think I recall him posting about that.
And they were all excited about it, brought it back, and it was going to be the project that we were all going to work on together. And then life happened, and none of us could really meet that much. We were going to do it once a week. It just didn't happen. And it sat for about 2 years, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And it made me sad, so I kept saying to Jeff, hey, you ready to sell that thing yet? Hey, what are you thinking? And one day we were talking on the phone. He goes, hey, I'm ready to get rid of it. If you want it, let's work it out. And they towed it over here, flat towed it with the tow hitch, and put it in here, and nothing worked. There was a block. There was the air oil canister.
So this really was a Jeep kit, some assembly required.
This is lots of assembly acquired, and it was filled with farm mud. When people in Florida, if you know, there is different kinds of farm mud. There is sugar sand, and there is dung.
Okay, I was getting ready to start taking the pictures. I didn't have to bleep something.
Yeah. So, I'll stay sanely.
PG.
Maybe.
Family friendly.
I'll have my phone on standby.
My radio time is on. Hey. But no, so it was a lot of cleaning out. And even now I can go under there and I'll find something that a chunk will fall the size of my head and probably just miss me.
Yeah, that wasn't sheet metal. That was just 50-year-old solidified cow byproduct.
Yes.
You didn't find a Teamsters Union wristwatch in there, did you?
No, but I found never mind.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Well, he's done a remarkable job on it, and there's a few things. It's got one modern convenience. He's popped a Pertronix distributor in it because he was more afraid of points, but turns out the Pertronix has been a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it's been a problem too.
The Jeep, I think, rejected anything later than 1955.
Well, the cool part about it was, so there's Kaiser Willys is still a website and a company to buy parts from.
Yeah.
And they get a lot of rebuilt parts, or they'll get parts from other people, have them rebuilt, so they're still original parts. But there's also other companies. There's one in Indiana, Nashville, Indiana, that I found that actually goes and buys warehouses filled with old Jeeps. And the old crated Jeeps, some of them are dented, so they take them apart and they sell the parts off of them. And
NOS,
so,
new old stock.
For example, the front fenders on this were so rotten that they had metal banding that he welded on to hold them there. And if you touched them, your finger would go right through. So I took them off right away, started working on this with my 7-year-old son right before COVID hit. And with COVID hitting, of course, it made it my daily project because I needed something to keep myself sane.
Yeah.
And anytime I had to order a part, I ordered from them because I knew it would be a 1951 original part. So this thing is all original, except for the 12 volts that I've put in, and all the lighting is now LED. The wiring is all brand new.
That's okay. You finally got the current draw down to something the original system could handle.
Yes, we have. But it's been a labor of love. It's not perfect. The frame is magnificent.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to take the time and work on the body work. I had a friend of mine from New York came down for a vacation in the beginning of March, right when COVID had hit, and they started shutting everything. He was on a plane ride down. And he helped me all week. I took the week off, and we cut panels out, and we put metal, and his name's Kim Kaiser. He actually has a 1932 Willys.
Wow.
And it's beautiful. Beautiful wood frame on that thing.
Well, that's one of the crazy things because, like, not only, again, you are a OTT original alumni in a way, so is Dave Meyer, and he's got the wagon.
Yep.
Yeah, what year is that wagon? I can never remember.
I think it's a 62 or 63.
Yeah, 60-something. So there's a lot of old iron.
60s. Yeah, and that's the thing, because Dave and I were talking about that the other day, is probably a week or two ago, that all the people that were modifying the heck out of their JKs, which my old JK was Coastal Mayhem. A lot of people knew the Jeep. Actually, the owner that bought it still has a sticker on it, has not changed it, and it has been over a year. So he must like the name too. I don't know. Yeah. But I did all the work on that too. Yeah. I did all the lift. I did all the special brakes. The sound system, of course, was incredible in that thing. Every custom mod to it between drive shafts and rails and control arms. And now I was like, okay, well, let's get to the old iron. And that's what Dave and I were talking about is all these people that put all this money into those Jeeps are now getting into the old stuff because you get to see how it started. You get to bring back history. I mean, this thing would have went in a junk pile somewhere. Yeah. Now it drives, it rides, it's titled, which brings the value up because it's legal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can literally not that it goes very fast. We get up to 43 miles an hour with the three of us.
Whoa. I have to say something, man. Again, me and you were talking a little bit before the show about how, everyone downplays it. Don't get a force limiter. Don't do it. For a, math? Oh, my goodness. 70-year-old Jeep. She's got some get 'em go.
Yeah, she does.
She's got some movement, especially with my large posterior in the back.
Well, it's marked on the engine 60 horsepower or large posterior in the back.
Well, what's funny is we were trying to find a noise, and I guess we couldn't find the noise to work. So I still don't know if John was joking. You got to get out, Scott. You got to walk home. I got to make this noise happen for Kevin.
Make it happen.
No, there's the joys of an old vehicle. But it is kind of odd how we do tend to come back to the basics. And 60 horse is more than enough to motivate something that is barely 2,000 pounds.
Yes.
And with that wonderful rigid suspension, the front shackles are not even H-shaped. They're C-shaped, which means they're real stable.
Kevin's doing the Pac-Man with his hand as we go.
I'm not sure I'd want to have enough horsepower to get much above that.
No. There are actually people out there with these that have put LS motors in them.
I know. And
it's very scary.
It is.
I'm sorry, like you talk about going backwards in technology. We went from the JK back to an LJ for us. I like the idea of, this is not helping me, by the way, because
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kevin knows like I'm liquidating and trying to buy a house, and I'm looking at this going,
It'll look good at the house.
Well, the problem is I can't, because I'd have to borrow Kevin's trailer and truck to bring it back, and he'll say no.
Not at all. Look, you just put it right on the ball and you pull it with you. I made it simple.
As long as the wheels turn. Otherwise, by the time you get home from Georgia, it's ground itself down to just a hood and a grill. Hood and a windshield.
I don't even have to do that now, because now I have the Gladiator. I can just rent the trailer from U-Haul now.
Yeah, but
I'm still not going to do it.
U-Hauls and Jeeps, they usually won't let you rent them.
Well, I will say
that's
this.
right. I forgot about that.
They will with the Gladiator.
I know.
No, I know, but sorry.
I know.
I will say, though, when I do get the house, though, and I do get a flat fender Jeep or something old iron, I can tell you right now, I'm going to do the John Karl modification in my garage. Because right now, we don't have a wood chipper going on, because this man literally saws out holes in his roof to make air conditioning in the garage.
Tied into the air conditioning ducts.
John, you are my hero. This fat kid right now is thanking you.
I just wish that I was smart enough when I was working on this to cut holes in the ceiling and put air conditioning in, not after the fact. I did it just for you.
Okay, thank you. We'll edit that out in post. Guys, he wink did it at the beginning. Poor Kevin.
Now, there is one thing that he made as a modification to Smojack. That's what he calls it, with the code on that thing. And there's a whole story behind that, but that's not suitable for mixed company. So we'll let that go.
So unmix yourself and we'll tell you.
Yeah.
Fined by the FCC.
But obviously he has a somewhat of a hankering for music. And this particular Jeep did not come with an optional radio, speaker, or any other form of... that too. So... For those who are on Patreon, if you look behind his elbow, you see some neat little boxes. Right now they're marked with a Red Cross. Some days they're marked with ammo. Some days they're marked with biohazards.
Cupcake Factory.
Whatever. But John cunningly hid a really awesome stereo system and a set of impressive speakers. I swear he could run out of gas, run the stereo on the battery, and just face them backwards, and you probably get home at about 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is the epitome of stealth. I can tell you right now, he's sitting there jamming his music, and all of a sudden everyone's looking around for the car or the truck. What the heck?
Where's that coming from?
Where's that coming from? It couldn't be coming from the old Jeep with the canvas bags on the back.
There's not even a radio in the dash.
I did tell him, though, that the best thing he needs to do is get the soundtrack to Bill Murray's... Stripes, and do the boom shakalaka march music as he's driving down the road. Get everybody's
the only
attention.
thing it's missing right now is the 50 cal on the top.
Oh,
so I'm going to actually build a
Rat Patrol
Mac, a fake version that I can screw in and put on for parades and stuff. And that's the main reason so 2 reasons I built it. 3 reasons: time with my family. So with my son, who's helped me once, but he's 7, so you can understand.
Yeah, but he still shouts when Dad comes down the street.
He's the coolest kid in the neighborhood, though.
Yeah, that's right.
We came back; they're all waving.
My dad also would come over. They just moved here from New York about a year ago. So while I was building it, he'd come over on Wednesdays before COVID, and we'd talk and stuff. And his father, so my grandfather, owned garages back in Albany, so he's been around cars his whole life.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Good three generations working on it. I also got it because I want to wheel it. Yeah. I want to bring this out where everyone's, and I know Citrus now, you can get a badge for an area I've wheeled so many times.
Same here.
Ridiculously. I'm going to take this up there, and I'm going to get my badge to prove that this is as good as a 4-inch suspension with control arms.
Let me know when you do, because if push comes to shove, I'm being sincere here.
Yeah.
We want to bring the Gladiator to get the same trail.
Yeah.
So just in case, we'll be the rescue unit.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that he can rescue the Gladiator.
Yeah. So he can rescue the Gladiator. Yes.
Well,
yeah, I've got the original winch actually up over there that I have rebuilt. I just have not put the plate on to put it on the front of this.
Holy cats! I didn't see that.
I rebuilt the whole thing because it was a rat's nest of wires. It's literally the little green thing sticking out at you next to the.
Yeah, it looks like a sprinkler head.
Okay, I was looking for the old
5,000 pounds
with the big clutch worn, and it's this.
Yeah, it's little. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, quick question, because I see it a lot, and I think both of you will answer this because I know you're on the forums right now. The rope. Now, is that to protect when you bump something, or is that in a snatch line?
Originally, that was a snatch line.
Yeah.
That's what they used that for.
Got to remember when you were on the Burma trails, the mud and then the sand and something to be pulled out with or to pull out.
Okay.
Yep. That for me is looks because I just want this to look like
it looks cool.
Jeep. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's why the winch is going to go back on, so it's functionality. So I did build this in mind for the trails, but the last thing that I wanted with it is parades.
Yeah.
Stuff like this, especially in today's climate, political climate, needs to be brought to light for people to remember and see what we all fought for.
Yeah.
What we
can do when we all work in the same direction.
Yes. I mean, this is history. And my dad was a high school history teacher his whole life. And
awesome.
For once, I feel like I have something on him, because I have physical history in my garage.
That's what I said when I got
did
out.
with my own two hands, and that's the coolest part to me. Is I got to bring something back that these vehicles save so many people's lives and help give us our freedoms. That's
the thing. It was. I had the notes, but one of the generals, it's one of the top 10 things that won the war.
Yeah.
And they're really cool. And I actually said the same comment when I jumped out of the back end, is that, and again, I'm kind of trying to be dainty with getting it out, my big frame and all that. And you both are like, why? This thing's been through what? I mean, you ain't going to hurt it, Scott. Yeah. But I had an ear-to-ear grin. I even videoed it because I have now ridden in a piece of history. And I helped a friend, again, a 55 Plymouth Belvedere. That was a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
But it wasn't this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This thing's awesome. It's absolutely fantastic. So,
and to know
I will say this for everyone that watches the show, and you don't know if it's a tagline or not in the beginning of the show, Kevin is 95% the reason why this thing is running.
I don't know about that.
I got it built, and I got it to the point where I was like, okay, great, now what? And I knew Kevin wanted to see it, be a part of it, and we found the two small problems in about an hour and a half. And taking the starter out 5,000 times. But besides that, we literally pushed it after we had the plugs wired properly. We pushed it once and boom, right up. And it hadn't ran for over 15 years at that point.
It was awesome. We should have made one of those "Will it run" videos, but I had no clue if it would have run.
It was a great feeling.
Well, and that's one of the things I always kind of talk about. And actually, I wanted to bring up in an earlier show, but it's very interesting because, in a way, Kevin and I kind of briefly touched about being afraid to make mistakes, just doing it. Me and you talked about wrapping Jeeps. I just want to do it. I'm at that point now where I'm like, you know what? I want to do it. Am I going to fail? Probably. But you know what, though? What if it comes out looking awesome? This is a case of, yes, you made a few mistakes, but you got your hands dirty. You just said, you know what? By hook or by crook, I'm going to make this thing work.
And that's exactly what I told my dad, because he goes, I would never have the cojones to do something like this. I said, why? It's just metal. I can make another piece or buy another piece, or I can put it back the way it was. The point is learning, why does it work?
Yep.
How does it work? So that the next person that has an issue can say, hey, John, how did you do this?
How did you make it work?
What did you figure out with this problem? Because there are plenty of things I did on this Jeep that I would never have done the way that I did, because I wound up changing them to the right way after. And a perfect example is the steering column in worm gear. To take that out, you have to remove the whole front end of the vehicle.
Right.
The whole front end. I'm talking fenders, everything in the way from the gas line, the grill, and everything, and pull it out and through. And then when you take it apart, the bearings inside have to fit in such a way that it's easy. If you just turn it wrong, they all just pile on out.
Yep.
There's nothing holding them in place. It's a worm gear. They're just going through that little channel.
It's a recirculating worm gear system, fully manual.
Crazy.
It doesn't even have steering fluid. It has a grease Zerk fitting on top of the steering box. You have to grease the steering box.
And it's not supposed to be grease. I'm using grease because I'm lazy. It's supposed to be like the oil that I have in the transmission.
Yeah.
Is what's supposed to go in there, gear oil.
7590 gear oil. Probably
I'm
when
using
it was put
grease
in, it was
because
straight.
I'm just that guy.
Kevin and I made this joke 1,000 times, is that I'm always worried about when I do something, the one little piece goes ding off into the stratosphere, never to be found again.
Yeah.
So note to self, if I buy one and rebuild the steering, Kevin, I need an adult.
You know what you need?
A catch pan, because I'm going to do it.
A magnetic catch pan.
Yes.
A floor mat that's a magnet, so it goes, it can go ting, and then you hear...
I have one. Dory gave me one. It's a mat they use for surgery and has 1,000 magnets in it for just that reason.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about one that's probably Jeep size, so it's going to have to be about
Size
10
of the
feet
garage.
by.
Oh no, I have to have overalls too because I'm going to drop everything.
Oh, I can hear it now. I'm going to get this scratchy phone call, do the interference. I'm stuck to the Jeep. Can you come pry me off?
No, I'll use my catchphrase. I need an adult.
So, for the tech guys, what was the most challenging part of the build? Was it the steering, or was there something else that was really vexing?
The brakes.
The brakes.
The brakes.
Those are important.
They are. They're early hydraulics.
I had heard so many stories of doing this that I have to change it to discs. Have to change it to discs. There's no question. And when they change it, the fronts actually become a Geo-Metro. That's where you get the discs from, and they turn them for that, for your hubs. But no, seriously, the brakes were the biggest issue. And it was a Geo-Metro, but...
and for the Patreons, I'm looking at the camera going, no.
But for all honesty's sake, then I started talking to a bunch of these old-timers that used these in the war and said, these can stop on a dime.
Yeah.
If you do it right, they stop on a dime.
It was impressive with the three of us coming to a stop.
Mm-hmm.
Plus also, it's what, 2,000 pounds, if that?
Yeah, but you had the three of us.
So when people put these together, they really have to pay attention to what master cylinder they use, what wheel cylinders they use, the sides of the pad. So you can get the normal 9-inch pad, or you can get the 11-inch pad. So the 9-inch pad is the 9-inch is the big one, and it's got a 7-inch that comes to the small side. So on the vehicle, if you're looking forward on every wheel, not front to back, every wheel, the front has a big 9-inch pad, and the back side of that same wheel has a 7-inch pad. So they kind of intersect. Most people take them and they say, oh, okay, I'll take the two big pads and put them both in the back and just the small ones in the front. Your stopping power's in the front on these things.
Yes, it is.
I don't want a little 7-inch pad stopping me the whole entire way. But then the 11-inch pads is an 11 and a 9, and they overheat a lot, so they lock up. So when I was doing all the research on this, they said, look, just normal brakes, get new wheel cylinders. Don't replace the guts of them. Get real wheel cylinders, because people will make the mistake and put the same wheel cylinder on all four. It's not. There's different ones for front and back. People don't do the research.
Yeah.
So I argued with this Jeep for about 4 months with the brakes, because I didn't do all that research. And I'd fix a part or order a part. All the brake lines in here are braided lines that I paid nice dollars for just because I was fed up with everything not going. It's got to be leaking from somewhere. I went through 3 master cylinders to find out it wasn't the master cylinder.
Yeah, we just had that discussion today that, folks, this is a tech thing we've never covered on the show, because normally you go to a guy like Scott and you get the parts. You don't have to figure things out. The manufacturer's done all the homework.
Yeah.
Or if you get a brake system, like a big brake conversion, they've done the calcs. But you have this problem. You have a little hydraulic pump, okay? It's just like a bicycle pump. It just pumps oil. And when you push one stroke, it only pushes so many cc's of fluid, or cubic inches. And if your wheel cylinders take more cc's than that little pump can stroke, guess what?
No brakes.
Got no brakes.
Yeah, or you empty your reservoir every time you hit the brakes.
Well, no, you start pumping furiously. And I do recall visiting you one time where I got brakes. I just kind of have to go bum, 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 squeak. Oh, see, it stops.
Yeah, that was scary for me too.
And that's why there's no upholstery in the Jeep. Kevin, were you wearing your brown pants that day?
They didn't start that way. No, the good news is you can always just jump out and run the other way.
That's right.
It doesn't get up to that kind of speed. So, okay.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, drag your foot. We need to stop. What? You're the anchor. What?
Maybe that's why there were so many holes in these floor plans. Put your foot down.
No, not too hard.
Flintstones. What do you have? Sneakers or boots on? Oh, yeah, this is a boot day, boy. So I see you went ahead and did a little retro work with the unidirectional military tires.
Yep. Wanted to make sure that it was as close as... everything that was done on here, the only thing... Let me rephrase this. The only thing I have not touched on this Jeep, knock on wood...
You're holding a big chunk of wood.
But I don't want to...
You're not going to hurt the guitar.
The guy inside will get mad.
I got to turn the crank.
The only things I haven't changed are the transmission and the transfer case.
Gotcha.
Other than and inside the diffs, the actual gears, they've all been cleaned out, flushed, new oil seals throughout.
The transmission
so the suspension's been done, the oil's been done, the gas has been done, the tires, the brakes, the bearings, the shocks, the whole motor rebuild.
Body work.
The body work, which is not perfect, but you know what? I wanted it to look military, like it had been used.
You want to look used.
It's a lot better than it was, let me put it that way. The glass is actually original 1951 glass from another windshield that came with this. Because the windshield that I had on there had a huge spider crack throughout the whole thing.
I do see you got the deluxe model, though.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he even has the air conditioning still going.
The air conditioning model. I can't reach it, but it's there. Air conditioning.
Yep, there you go.
Very important. And you really feel that when you're driving. It's amazing.
Now, do we call that the cat flap or what?
In different language, yes.
I hope you just recently watched the George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser, the butt flap.
Well, that's if you're going backwards.
They had something with those old-timey pajamas with the buttons in the back. Moving on.
Yes. And then, of course, in case it rains,
you get wet.
Need a windshield wiper so you can see at least out the window as you can't see in front of the window.
Hey. So they got the AC. They just got the one side of the wiper, Right. The money well spent.
And the old wiper, so it was kind of neat. So it did have the original wiper system. So the way those wipers work, they were vacuums.
Yes.
So the line would actually run down, and you can't really see it, but it comes down here, it goes in the engine, and it would actually connect into the exhaust, the top of the exhaust.
Really?
The vacuum side of the exhaust.
Okay.
And it would actually pull and push that little flapper inside that would move the wiper. Well, I wanted it to look original because I did have the part. I took it all the way apart. The leather inside was completely destroyed. A lot of the guts were gone. So I bought an electric version, just a newer version because everything's 12 volt now. And it works perfect. And it looks like it's supposed to. But once again, it doesn't really help when the rain's actually falling in your face.
Yeah, well... There's not quite enough lean in that windshield to have a dry zone in there, so you travel with a rag and just or a squeegee.
It's made for everything. Even the radio system is all marine and the box is all waterproof, so it doesn't matter.
I had the YJ Jeep squeegee when I had 3 months of no soft top.
Yeah. No, it's an awesome Jeep. It's absolutely. I don't know. It's really just a fun.
It's been a
really
fun
cool project.
And this is one of those situations where the Jeep actually does reflect the owner because there's a lot of history in this Jeep and a lot of history with you, John, which is really cool.
Thanks.
But do you want to take a quick little commercial break there, Mr. Kevin?
Let's do that. What I want to do is do a quick jump away for a second, and we'll come back. But I want to talk a little bit about a segment we haven't done for a while, but I got a special call from a shop that we've worked with quite a bit with another tech from the garage or tech from the shop. A tip from the shop. Boy, I can't even talk today.
I will be right back after this, boys. That's all, folks. Hold on.
Oh, Scott's back to normal.
Hey, Patreons, it's Scott here. Just wanted to say thank you again for all of your contributions. Also, don't forget to check out the 4x4 Radio Network and also, to check out our website at onthetrailpodcast.com for really cool stuff.
Hey Jeeples, Kevin here. Time to go back to a little bit older segment that we've done in the past, and going to do it again because I got a call from one of our shop friends, Ron at Red Scorpion Fab Works, and he said, you got to come here. I got to show you a tip from the shop. He says, and you need to know this. And he's more specifically, he's like, get over here and I'll show you, and you can decide. And he's absolutely right. Particularly any of you out there that have a JL or a Gladiator.
Yes.
Like somebody here. And it's one of these. There was a JL in the shop, and Ron was looking a little more haggard than his usual look. His shop doesn't have air conditioning, folks, and we've had heat indexes of 110 plus. So
I don't know that problem.
Yeah, I know. But anyhow, he says, go ahead. The owner was there, a young lady. He said, put the JL in neutral and try and move it. And you weren't moving that thing. It was not turning. And I said, what'd you do? You break the transmission? He goes, no, I didn't break anything. I haven't touched it yet. I said, so what is it? And he says, there is a no rollaway safety on that 8-speed transmission, which when I mentioned to Scott earlier, he goes, "Oh yeah, that's just like my Charger."
Yeah.
So here's a service bulletin to any of you with an automatic, JL, or Gladiator. And if you find yourself in a situation, nice one punching the microphone.
Hassan chop.
Okay, karate chop the key again. That's an inside joke, folks. Sorry, Eric. We owe you one.
Yeah, we do.
But it seems that Chrysler has put an electronic or maybe just electrical solenoid lock on the transmission in park. And so if A, your battery goes dead, both of them for the auto start and the other one,
Yeah.
or B, you break down in such a way that you have no power or no key, you cannot manually, or at least apparently you can't manually put the thing in neutral to move it.
Yeah.
So if you go out to the parking lot and your Gladiator's got a dead battery and you want to push it back out to get it jumped, not going to happen.
No.
All right. There is a solution. And I was surprised because it's been out there, but it's not really been well publicized. So I'm kind of surprised. And we actually dug through the service manual of the Jeep, and it's in there.
Yeah.
It's way buried down in, under transmission, you know.
It's way down there, but the Chattahoochee. I can't get that word out. Damn it. My joke was terrible.
So, anyhow, if you do find yourself in that situation where your Jeep is dead and you need to move it off the trail, push it out of a parking lot, get it put up on a flatbed. Mm-hmm. You really don't want to drag it with the wheels locked. That's not real good. It's actually very simple.
Yeah.
So you'd think they would have made a little more information about it. Maybe giving you a little bit of training at the dealership when you picked it up, you know. So on your transmission shifter area, right where it rolls up underneath the dash, so the front side of that transmission shifter console, where the T-handle goes from park, neutral, drive, whatever. If you kind of look all the way up like you're trying to run your hand under the dash, you'll see there's a little door up there. It's a little plastic pop-in. If you've ever changed the batteries on a TV remote or on your children's toys, it'll look really familiar to you.
Or taking them out for peace and quiet.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about that too often. Take a coin or key, and you can actually pop the door open. It's got the little slot in it. Once you pop that little piece of plastic out, and it's about, let's say, 3 inches by about 1.5 inches tall, not going to hurt anything when you pop it out. You'll look in there, and you'll see some wires and cables and frayed carpet where it's cut. But what you'll see is an orange or red loop of like a pull tab.
Yeah, like a ballistic nylon kind of thing.
Yeah, and all you're supposed to do is kind of get that through your finger and pull. And you are going to have to pull hard. It's not easy. That's a very strong. You have to pull, and you'll feel it go click. When you do that, the transmission is now in neutral.
Yeah.
And it will stay in neutral. This is the other thing that Ron was laughing about. He said, yeah, we did it, and then we hopped in the Jeep and fired it up and put it in reverse, and it wouldn't back off the ramp.
Whoops.
Crazy.
Whoopsie.
Crazy.
So you do have to go in when your Jeep is done, you know, it's loaded on the flatbed, hopefully not permanently, you know, or for whatever reason, you have to reach back there, grab that cord, and give it another pretty strong pull, and you'll feel it pop again and then it'll retract back in, and you can snap the door. So it's a simple little thing. Look it up in your manual. Go out and practice it a time or two in the parking lot or the garage before you need it.
Yeah.
So you know how it works. Particularly if the Jeep belongs to your spouse, who is not a handy person, you may want to at least give them a clue that they have an idea. It's a real simple feature. It's designed to keep the Jeep from being left in neutral and driving, rolling over you.
Yeah.
So it's actually a pretty good safety feature. But, maybe you need to go out and figure out all the bits and pieces of your Jeep.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we talked about reading the owner's manual. I didn't do anything. I did. I read how many gallons of gas and whether or not the transmission flush and all that. I read that, but that information's in there. And when Kevin called me and says, "Hey, did you hear about this thing?" He's telling me the crickets are going off, and I'm going, "Oh, he's right," because I had the same problem with the Charger.
Yep.
It's a good thing to know that.
Easy.
Well, one of the other things too on the Gladiator forums I'm seeing is the new TSB out for the steering box. Again, I'm still doing more research about that, but apparently it's got a dead spot, 30-degree dead spot, and you feel your Gladiator wandering on the highway. And so check into that. Call your dealership if you think it's available. I mean, I guess it goes from an aluminum cast box to a steel box.
At least that's the current info that's being thrown around. We don't have any proof of that. There's no TSB that we found yet, but well,
it is. If you Google it, the TSB information. I don't have the TSB number, but the idea is that if you feel that you've been wandering and been in a cave like I have, apparently this TSB has been around for a while. I'm like, man, this thing just has a dead spot. Not again. And then all of a sudden, I'm on the Gladiator page, and Dora's like, "Did you see this TSB yet?" I'm like, "Oh, that explains a lot."
Yeah.
So again, just something to check out. Check your local dealership and give them a call and say, "Hey, do I qualify?" And the best to do it if you're thinking about planning on lifting your Jeep. Do it before you buy the lift, because they have been denying the TSB on some of the lifted Jeeps.
That's good to know.
So
anyway, as far as the garage segment, we'll come back to that on another show. I will tell you, just as a teaser, that this is an old issue that's cropped up on TJs for years. And, of course, TJs are now 2 generations out of date.
Yeah.
But there's a new twist on the gas tank issue. And for those of you who don't drive TJs, what there was is there's the rollover check valve in the top of the tank. Apparently wasn't real compatible with ethanol.
Yeah.
And the fuels swelled up and would get jammed. Well, it turns out there's a twist to it. And I learned it the hard way. Last time I was here, in fact.
Yes, we talked about it.
I came here and was like, I need gas. And I went to try and put gas in my TJ, and it wouldn't take any. It would take about a cup, and then it would cut off. And you'd put the handle again and go, and I'm going, this is, I got to get there, and I'm just, and I had done the conversion to the flat valve, and I'll leave it at that. But the ball apparently is now, as they've gotten even older, I looked it up, they're getting jammed at the top of the tank, blocking the inlet of fuel. If you leave them in, like I was, they used to get jammed down at the bottom, causing their own little thing. Now mine's getting jammed at the top. So if I fill the tank up and drive around for a while, I can't put fuel in. So I didn't drive it today.
See, that's what makes it easier. You just sit on your gas tank like you do in a CJ like this. Your fuel tank's right there.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, no balls in the tank.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. But we'll talk about
just
how I'm going to fix that problem. That's the downside that a few soldiers had found out too.
Yes.
That wetness you felt after that last round of incoming fire was not you. But you may want to change your pants.
All right. The NBC logo, whatever, that was a nice touch. Thank you, John.
No, that's the OTT.
OTT?
On the trail.
Oh, he's my new favorite guest.
No applause, just 20s. I'll be here all week. Try to
deal.
So, and as if you haven't figured that out, our Patreons can see it. John didn't go anywhere. He's been sitting here kind of giggling around at this, we all have Jeep issues.
Yeah. But that's what makes it fun.
That is what makes it fun.
And annoying at the same time.
So at the moment, I do have an interesting question. Given the fact that you have, your JK, not a U, just a JK, and now you've got your little Willies. Does the wife ever drive the Willies and make you drive the JK?
She won't let me drive the JK right now. The fact that she actually had to take my car to go get the paint today really bothered her, because she really wanted to take her Jeep. That's all she likes to drive. She loves driving it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to move it and have to rearrange cars 1,000 times. So the Jeep is in here, but I want to wheel it. She does not. It is a pavement princess for people out there. It's ready for the trail. It is a TerraFlex leveling kit on there. That's all that is on it. Everything else is the same. Other than that, it's stock. I mean, besides the cut fenders and the hood and some paint details and stuff, and custom stereo stuff inside, of course.
Of course. Got to have your tunes, man.
Yeah. But other than that, it's just a normal JK, and I know it could crawl very easily, but it's her vehicle, and that's once again why I did the Willies. And I will say that my next vehicle will be the Gladiator. That's what Scott and I were talking about. I've been wanting to do that, but of course, as payments are concerned, I have to get through my 1-year-old vehicle now, and in 3 years or 2 years, I will get rid of that. And I'm hoping that they bring back the burnt umber, the burnt orange color.
The Mango
year
Tango.
that I buy it, because I have always wanted a vehicle that was burnt orange, that kind of goldish
Mango Tango.
orange. Yeah, not bright, not the pumpkin.
Yeah.
You know?
No. The Mango Tango was like a almost like the lid bucket, but like metallic.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
Mango Tango.
I want to do that in the worst way, and then I'll have my fun working on that again. But the idea is to take that so that I can tow the boat, and behind the boat tow the other Jeep. So wherever I go, I can have all my toys with me.
I think you might need a little bit bigger of a trailer.
I will take this and put it up in the boat, and then just pull the boat.
Get yourself like a pontoon or a deck boat that you can.
You definitely need the max tow then.
It's either that, or we'll have to figure out how to design you a little one of those 2-part trailers. And I've actually seen these in Europe. That the boat actually goes on top, and it's got a set of hydraulic arms that scissor it out and behind and down into the water.
I'm liking this.
Okay. And then the Jeep just sits in a lowered flatbed section. And then when you motor up and you pull up onto it, and it just kind of
lifts it back up and in.
And drips all down the Jeep. So you get in with wet
I
seats.
think we have a new project coming up.
Somewhere there's a folded piece of leather in a dark place. Well, bits of paper, probably some receipts, and some plastic, rectangles with chips in them. And they're just sitting there hearing you say this, Kevin, in the ether of the universe, and going, "Why? Why?" Well, you're his wallet.
Yeah, I don't need a wallet. Those parts are readily available on all the other broken down.
You're talking to the guy who somebody was complaining about, not being able to dump shavings into a bin. And I built him a building that the roof opened up like a...
Did he show you a picture
like
of the Muppet building?
No.
The roof opens up, and I said, you got to put googly eyes on, going, yum, 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 yum. I'm not joking. It really lifts up on top of the
That's
roof.
awesome.
But that's the second one. The other one was the guy's planet, observatory, where the whole roof just rolls off and forms a patio outside.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And like I said, it needs those big googly eyes, going, yum, yum, yum. Put like some cardboard fangs.
Use it for Halloween.
Yeah. Back on to the Jeep topics. What's next for the Little Green Wonder?
It's a good question.
Oh.
How much money you got?
Enjoy it.
Actually, the next thing after I figure out this little drive shaft sound, without an extra couple pounds in the back of it, I plan on getting this to some trail somewhere. I'm probably going to go up around here. I'm sure a lot of the listeners know of Citrus.
Yeah, we've talked about it several times. The big sand pits.
And they have now created it. There is actually a Jeep badge for one of the trails that everyone around here has traveled 1,000 times. We're just used to that trail.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take it up there. I am going to have this as a 1951 modernly badged Jeep, proving the fact that you don't need lifts and lockers and everything to enjoy the experience of Jeeping
and
with no hydraulic anything. So it's going to bounce around like this everywhere you go.
That it does.
So,
and
but that's
memories,
okay.
The memories are going to be great. And the cool thing is, I kind of thought about this before we took the break, and I wanted to say it because, in a way, you already have a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You took time and you rolled up your sleeves and did it.
Opened your wallet.
Yeah, well.
And that's the best part, though, because most of the parts on this that I had with it, of course, I took out, sandblasted, regasketed, rebuilt the parts so that I didn't have to. I mean, that's part of the fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, to a lot of people, it's the small nitty gritty work and stuff, and you take parts off, and you're like, oh, I got to clean all the cow poop off this one. But when you're done and it's shiny, well, shiny-ish, and it goes back in, but it works. Mm-hmm. It feels amazing. I mean, there's so many parts of this Jeep that...
Well, I saw your face when we finally hit the timing sweet spot today.
Oh, it was wonderful.
We were...
Oh, yeah.
I had to drag out a piece of antique test gear.
Strobe light gun.
Yeah, strobe light timing gun. And
me sitting with the phone doing this with the light wasn't working. I just couldn't get it in time.
I'm from that generation. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic.
No,
it made it perfect.
And you're sitting there and thinking, going,
Yeah, and you got your carburetor adjusted too. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about it is, Kevin and I always talk about this when people say, "Hey, where should I go? Should I do my lift? Should I build this? Should I do that?" And we always kind of say, hey, if you have the ability and the desire and the physical capabilities, always try and you have other people do a lifting party or work on your Jeep together, because you'll know how it goes together. Yep. Brother, you know how that comes together now.
Yeah, I've watched you in several cases, almost loosening that distributor blind. Okay, and then going over here and this electrical line here and that, and you'll have that skill and ability when you hit the trail, and
exactly.
And all that.
And that was the most important thing to me was, if there's a problem that happens, even on the JKs and the JKUs when I worked on them, if there was something that happened, mm-hmm. whether I was out wheeling or somewhere, I wanted to know what the reason was it broke, and if I can fix it when I'm on the trail. I'm sure you guys preach this all the time. Do not go on a trail unless you're with other people.
Oh, yeah.
Do not go alone. And I'll see posts all the time. Oh, I'm stuck at Citrus, or I'm stuck at Hard Rock, and someone come and get me. Why are you there alone? This is not a highway. This is not a back road. This is a treacherous area of road that Jeep has even said, hey, you can have a badge if you can make it through here. Has anyone ever heard of Moab? Yeah. Yes, that's the other places you get badges. So think. Don't just go out there and go, hey, I'm only an hour away from everybody. An hour away from everybody can turn into 24 hours away sitting in a forest with bears and everything else.
And mosquitoes.
And they're big. They're huge.
Florida state bird.
Yeah. I saw a mosquito carrying away a pelican the other day.
So, we also got to see.
Sure, was it a peacock?
Oh, Lord. We got to do something about you, though. We've got to get you some I think he'd look good dressed as Hawkeye Pierce, don't you? When he's out.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Get you, just got up like Radar
I'm more
O'Reilly.
of a honeycut, though. Wouldn't I be? With the comments?
Hold on. See,
I'll even put the glasses on and become Radar. That's fine with me.
The only thing that kills me is that Kevin and I talked about this last time we did the Broncos show a few shows back, and you talked about Parnelli Jones. I see him going through there like Parnelli Jones inside the
yeah,
Jeep.
but that was a Bronco.
I know.
That was Big Ollie. But no, I think he would. That whole Vietnam era. Not Vietnam. I'm sorry. Korean War, where this model Jeep was really in high usage. There, we could put the stretcher across, and
Well, my goal was, so when I got this.
See if your wife will dress up as Hot Lips Houlihan.
Right. Sure. Okay.
I know the references and I know the names, and I almost did a faux pas. I said, well, who's going to dress up like the Klingon? And then I realized it's a Klinger, right?
Klinger.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't say or deny or anything that I haven't done that before. So
hey, $20 is $20, man.
Exactly, right?
Jeep parts are expensive.
You got to buy.
I was going to say, I wish I could sing. I'd start with "Suicide is Painless" right now.
So
brings on many changes.
I am leaving that in, guys.
But I can take it or leave it if I please.
The one goal that I did have with this Jeep, when you asked that before, and I know it was a while ago, but I told you my dad had come and helped work on it, and Riley was in here, and it was the 3 generations. I promised my dad back in February that I would have this up and running and be at his house, which is 10 miles down the road here, on the 4th of July to take him for a ride.
Yeah.
He was not a military man. He was a teacher.
Yeah.
Where a lot of his friends were, and we all grew up in that whole vein.
Yeah.
And I showed up without him knowing on the 3rd of July with the Jeep. Got him in it, and he's going to be 80 this year. And we went for a nice long ride, just out and around Land O'Lakes, and came back. And the grin on both of our faces when we were done it makes it all worth it,
Yeah.
So
that's absolutely fantastic.
That's cool.
So
man.
if you get a chance, do it. I mean, seriously, what do you have to lose? If you break apart, just get another one.
If the ball bearings fall out of the steering.
Right. It's not
get
that
a magnet
expensive.
And chase them.
I don't even mind saying this. I have spent less than $2,500 fixing this Jeep.
Wow.
And I have brand new suspension, brakes, brake lines, electronics, parts of the engine that are redone, all the body work that I did, brand new tires, the radio system, which is probably the most expensive part of everything, all that together. That's all I've spent on that.
$2,500 just buy you a lift on a JK.
Exactly.
Not installed, just the lift.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Well, anything else you want to close with our fine guest?
No, that's. I mean, again,
I can't tell you thank you enough.
Dude.
This has been
thank you.
a great show.
It's been awesome for the help that you've given, and I'm glad that you are now coming by so that you can see the majesty of the madness of. Well, you already work with them all the time, so you know. But it's great to deal with people that are very involved, not just in one community in one town, but the whole world of Jeeps.
Yeah.
And it's been a great help for me and a joy at the same time, and I do appreciate it very much.
Well, you're most welcome, but I have really enjoyed getting back and utilizing skills that I learned as a kid, you know, and as I've said before, I started on old flat fenders with magneto ignitions and stuff like that my dad would bring home in pieces and say, here's a challenge for you.
Have fun. You know?
Let's have fun. So, and to come out here and this just reminded me of so many of them. I still love the one Jeep that was Ron's house 5 years ago that nobody could get started. And I walked out there and went, crank it. Put my hand over the carburetor and blocked it to hard choke it to pull fuel up to, and the thing roared to life. And turned around, okay, what's next? And they were all like, ah! It's not the kick. It's knowing where to kick.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, my foot's sore.
Well, if that's all we got, I think it's about time for us to wrap up the show, don't you?
I think it is. And again, John, thank you very much, man. You've been nothing but good to us. And coming over today was a hoot. I'm hoping I'm allowed to come back and we can just shoot the breeze and just talk Jeeps or whatever, man, because this is awesome, man.
Anytime, and I appreciate it.
You're a heck of a guy, dude. The world needs more like you and Kevin.
All right.
20 later.
Okay. Sorry, I forget that whole image thing, you know.
Hello. It takes a lot to create this demo.
Yeah, I know, right? Duh.
If anybody would know,
that's like
$2,500.
only man I know who has a bottle of whiskey named after him. You don't even know that,
no,
do you?
I didn't know that.
That'll be a story for another day. This is a family show brought to you by
non-sponsored.
TT.
Folks, as we always say, I think we've done enough damage here. It's time to lock hubs, put her in 4-low, and hit the trail.
Yeah, right. And as always, be sure to wheel legal, tread lightly, and also don't forget to check out our Patreon page.
Right, and as we always ask you, please take nothing but pictures, memories, and of course, your trash when you leave the trail. We want to leave it there for our kids.
Yep.
All right. John, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Bye now.
Bye.
Proceeding has been provided for entertainment only. Proper service and repair procedures are vital to the safe, reliable operation of all motor vehicles, as well as personal safety of those performing those repairs. Standard safety procedures and precaution, including the use of safety goggles and proper tools and equipment, should be followed at all times to eliminate the possibility of personal injury or improper service which could damage the vehicle or compromise its safety.
What he said. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. You guys have a great day.
Bye.
This has been a Bent Axle Media production.
On the trail.